What's up, AfterBuzzers? We're back with the American Grit After Show. We're talking Season 2, Episode 4, Secrets Are Revealed. Are we going to reveal some secrets? Stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There we go. You see, usually it's such a party. It's such a party on this show. But you know what? We're doing things a little bit simpler today. We got a little bit of a Spartan crew going on. We don't got no guests. We got a very minimal squad, but that just means we got more to get into.
Squad up!
Squad up! It's a squad, whether there's 2 people, whether there's 4 people, whether there's 6 people. We got it.
That sounds very...
Oh, come on, TK.
Just take that
right off the
whole
bat.
nother...
Right off the bat.
It's been a long day.
God damn. Guys, this is the American Grit After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. As I said, we're talking Season 2, Episode 4, Secrets Are Revealed. My name is Ty Matthews. As you can see, our boy, the poet Saint, Lem Gonzalez, not with us tonight, but he'll be back same bat time, same bat channel next week. So I have to step up. I have to make up for my absence last week by being the lead host, which I'm going to do with the help of the absolutely lovely, absolutely talented. She's our friend from the north.
There will be no help here.
This is TK Trinidad, everybody.
Thank you.
Where can they find you online?
You guys can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Also, for some of you guys who haven't been following me, you're in the middle of my birth season, and in the middle of my birth season, I'll explain it all if you go on my YouTube page, but I am helping the Boys and Girls Club of America and Canada. So you go on my page, I'm going to be tweeting it a billion times until the July 29th. So I really appreciate if you guys donate and help out the Boys and Girls Club for Canada and America.
That sounds amazing. I'm so intrigued now.
I know. Yeah.
Jimbo with the soundboard. Guys, man in the 1s and 2s right now. You can find him online at Jimbo in the Booth because he's Jimbo in the Booth, James Frank.
Oh my God.
That makes sense now, doesn't it?
You know what? I got it. Oh boy. And you can tune in just a couple hours to catch me and Jimbo on the Lucha Underground after show. We'll be talking some wrestling.
Wrestling.
With some wrestling, you know. I don't think I mentioned it before. You can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA. But let's get into this episode.
Speaking of wrestling,
yes.
How hot does The Rock look though?
The Rock.
He's like, out of all the hosts of BOA, you have TK here munching some popcorn and talking about The Rock, who's not even on the show.
I mean, eating popcorn on mic. Sorry to our ASMR listeners. Oh,
just saying. However, also, my birthday goal is to donate money for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, but my birthday wish is to work out with The Rock. There is a hashtag workout with The Rock.
There you go.
So I've been doing that every day. I'm going to the gym after this to run a mile, which is going to suck.
Oof.
Beyond suck.
Boo.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. Running's the worst.
Yes.
I downloaded. Have you ever used? There's an app called Zombies Run. That's what I use to run sometimes.
What, do the zombies run after you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did they tell you? The zombies are gonna...
Basically, like, you're listening to it and, like, you're quote-unquote on... I know this is a divergent, but we've only got 2 people. We got plenty of time.
Why not?
But no, it's this app where you listen to it and you're going on, like, quote-unquote supply runs, and it's like the apocalypse has happened. And then you start hearing, like, these groans, and, like, they get louder and louder, and you have to run faster to, like, get away from them. It's pretty awesome.
Actually, you know what? I've always told people you need to stay in some type of relative shape because it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, and if you watched Walking Dead the first season, the ones who weren't in shape were the first ones to go.
That's exactly right. I've got Walking Dead in my notes. We'll get to that comparison. Let's talk about this immunity challenge right off the bat. Now, we saw Jill go home last week. We had Jill join us.
She was so good
on the show. That challenge, I love that wheel challenge, and I loved Burke's strategy of just kind of trying to get Henna's mind off of it, which spoiler alert, we'll see a little bit more of later on. But I love seeing the cadre's different approaches to these challenges, you know, and just seeing what works with which people.
It's hard to decide. I mean, you have to be with people for quite a bit of time, and I actually got to work out with Chloe on the weekend. So shout out to Chloe.
Really?
She's
the famously new to working out Chloe Montesier.
hilarious.
Amazing.
That is also on my YouTube page and my Instagram, but that's like not even a plug. But it's just like so funny because she really is not about that workout life. Like it's like I hit her up. Actually, anyways, long story short, we were supposed to meet at 7 a.m. and I'm like,
God, 7 a.m.
No, it was 8. Sorry, I usually work out at 6. But anyways, I was like supposed to meet at 8 a.m. and I'm like, I hit her up the day before, like, Chloe, are you good? Because I know like you're not about that life, and nothing against you, just like let me know.
Oh no, nobody's up for that.
So 8 a.m. comes and I'm like, I get a text message from Chloe like 10 minutes before 8. Man, I just woke up. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you know, just let me know.
Right.
No worries. I'll be in the workout. And she's like 10, 20 minutes away from my house. Took her 45 minutes to get there.
You know?
I love it.
When you're willing yourself out of the house to go work out. That's a long process.
It was so good. But she might be coming back on Saturday again, so
there you go.
Shout out to Chloe.
You see? Bring workout partners together.
I just, you know, it was hilarious.
That's awesome.
We are gonna work out. The whole squad.
The whole squad?
Yeah, we're supposed to be before the end of this season. He's like, I didn't even know this.
This is news to me.
Yeah, before the end of the season, we're gonna be doing like a little challenge.
Awesome.
So
dope.
Yes.
All right then.
Get those zombies running.
Cool. Exactly. Speaking of challenges, once again, let's talk about this immunity challenge. It's this mud race. This race where the teams will have to be tethered to each other. Mm-hmm. They'll have to race each other, but they'll have to be running through some thick ass mud. Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
And through obstacles, going underneath these logs.
It's almost like the Spartan race. Have you done the Spartan race before?
Right. No, I've done, once again, not to keep going back to zombies. The only thing I've done similar to that, I did a 5K zombie run.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
So were there real zombies out there?
Well, you have these flags hanging off your belt, and those are like your lives.
Uh-huh.
And at every so often on the course, there are zombies that are trying to go after your lives. And so it's intense. It gets intense. Sometimes they would have helpful zombies that would give you like an extra life. It was all very kind of gamified. It was very, very much like a video game.
Okay.
But then they would have kind of the similar obstacles. They had like the electrified wires, and they had a big dumpster just full of water that you jumped into at the end. And I did this at like 9:30 at night, so it was absolutely freezing.
Oh my gosh, those water things in the, not to gross people out, but just think about, that's why I like to go through do the first wave. Mm-hmm. Just think about how many people are like peeing and sweat and body stuff falling off them, and then all the dirt that because it's usually at the end of the challenge. So all the dirt, like all the dirt is like washing off them in there, and then you're like third, fourth, fifth wave. Go the first wave.
Oh,
people.
no, yeah, and it was late. We might have been the last wave of the entire day.
Oh, so you didn't even know if it was fecal matter or really mud.
I never once, it's been, I think, 4 years since I did that. Never once thought about that until just now.
Now you are.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Amazing. But I love seeing the teams and their different compositions. Not only that, but the different body types that there are on the team, specifically with Richard's team. And
dragging him.
By the end, how Carl and Scarlett are dragging this guy through the mud.
Like, I wonder, because Jill last week was saying how, like, because my kind of gripe with it is, like, I understand about the mental challenge. Mm-hmm. Like, we all need to be, it's often, like, for instance, you get trainers or whatever, they often train you physically, but they don't train you mentally.
Right.
So I understand the method behind the madness for this particular American Grit. But I would like to see, them get trained physically as well. Because it's like you see Richard, like, popping in, like, fried chicken or something, like,
right.
while, like, during the show. And Jill was saying that he actually, like, for what he looks like on TV, he's actually pretty agile.
I see.
But then I see this week, and I'm like, Jill, I don't know about that one. Because anything, he should have been dragging some of the girls.
Right, exactly. And so you're saying it doesn't seem like people are holding him accountable.
Well,
for stuff like that.
Working out's not a big thing. Because, like I said, I was working out with Chloe, and she said that, like, John Cena would go and work out every day at the I want to call it the ranch, but whatever it was.
Yeah, maybe that was fair.
At the ranch. Yeah, he and the other cadres were working out there, but the other Chloe's like, she's not about that life, so they all work out. I would love to work out with John Cena.
Of
But they're all working out with John Cena, and maybe 1 or 2 people were going runs. Jill was teaching yoga, but that was so optional. The rest, she said there's a lot of downtime.
Dang.
So she's kind of like, with that much downtime, I feel like, hey, like, at least the morning run. Like,
Right.
American Grit, just grit at all. Think of...
Right. Look at this logo, guys. Look at this.
Yeah. You thinking of just, like, at least waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going for a run. Probably 85% of the population... I'll be generous. 65% of the population doesn't do that.
Right.
And maybe 2% actually think about doing it and then does not successful. So at least putting them in that same, like, look, every morning we're going for a run. Like, that's it.
Right.
Everything else is, like, playtime. But 5 a.m., like, you know, I just almost see them, like, rolling over at 9 a.m. like, oh, we have a challenge today.
Right.
Like,
well,
that's-
like with Carla, when they're trying to get her ass in gear and she's just, like,
Putting
taking
her
time to put her
makeup on.
makeup on, I'm like, is no one going to do anything about this?
I'm just saying, she should have had the eyebrows tattooed on, put on those fake lashes. Those last at least 3 weeks, girl. Just put those, the foundation that's in the lotion, but just pat it on. You're out in and out in like 30 seconds.
Life hacks.
Just
Life
saying.
hacks, y'all.
Just saying. I can hook you up with my girl when you come to town.
But it does seem like this season is going kind of entirely the opposite direction,
Yeah.
whereas season 1 was very, very physical based. The last couple challenges at the end of the episodes, they do seem to kind of be more endurance based and
Right.
more mentally rooted.
Well, yeah, because the challenges at the end are actually really good, because even if you are fit, that doesn't mean that you can do the challenge.
Right, exactly.
Like, you have a lot of, like, for instance, the phrase that comes to mind is practice champs. Like, you have the people who are in, like, they've done sports all their life and they're great in practice. Like, they look amazing running that 400. The moment the gun goes off, they always come in last.
Right.
Like, you can't equate it. So I definitely was surprised when Carla won. But, you know, oh, first, big up to Sherman. I forgot to say that.
Big Sherm!
He's from Guyana. My mom's from Guyana.
Oh, nice.
I have a lot of peoples in Guyana. I'm wearing a Guyana bracelet. Like, it's all about that life.
There you
so
go.
big up to him. Like, definitely love to show love, because I feel I need to.
For sure, definitely.
But yeah, it just feels like those challenges definitely are to the mental aspect. But again, if you had them physically doing something, then I would love to see how tables might have been a little bit different on,
Right.
on the ending challenge.
Right. So going back to that, I can't get it past this immunity challenge. So it's Grady's team once again that gets out unscathed, and it's just a team. We've talked about it a lot. It's a team full of just like studs.
Oh
like,
my God!
just
Yes,
stacking the deck
George,
like crazy.
you are invited on the show whenever. Just
But
saying.
it's once again, because the green team, it was the same thing with the green team last season. They're the ones to beat.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know?
the green team last team was amazing. I think it was the same thing with the red. Who was the red team? I think it was I forgot her name because she's following me on Twitter. But same thing with the red team. I think the red team was like losing team members like the fastest.
Oh right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And so over the course of this race, so Grady's team comes in first, Burke's team is in second, I believe Chloe's team is third, and then Carla's team rounds out the bunch. But in the process of this race, Hannah undergoes an injury, has to get taken 30 miles away to the nearest hospital. I love this whole kind of through line in the episode, because you don't know, like, the way they played the fishhook scene a
Right.
couple episodes ago, like, that's very tongue-in-cheek, like, you could tell nothing was really wrong.
Right.
This, you couldn't really tell if she was overreacting or if something might have really gotten her.
See, that's the thing though, because it's like, say, to just kind of bring it to everyday life. Say you go to the gym and you haven't been in the gym in a long time, and then you're sore, right? The average person's like, no, I need a couple days off. But the person who's used to being sore, like, nah, I can go. I'll just do something different.
Right.
So it's just like when that was happening, I'm like, oh, is she not used to like some type of like injury? Like, is there a real injury? Because I'm assuming if it was something crazy, then she wouldn't be like, she would be in so much pain. But she was talking. And she was
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, smiling, not in a like, you know, a flirtatious way, but she didn't seem very
Interesting, okay.
injured. Like it felt like they could have just wrapped her up and she would have been like
right.
throwing her some ibuprofen and called
the
called it a
line
day.
when they put her in the bed and she's just like fighting to get through those words, and she says she's never had medicine before.
Lucky her.
Right?
I had 2 hamstring injuries, and I was popping. I can't remember what it was. Some type of, I can't even remember the medication it was.
Oof.
It was to numb the pain. I was popping those like 6 times a day.
Oh God.
Yeah, and they shot me full of I think it was cortisol in my hamstrings in order for me to run. Like I didn't take days off.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like she's like medication. Ugh, okay.
Right.
All right, cool. Lucky you.
A couple weeks ago, I pinched a nerve in my lower back, and I've been using this like. It's this thing that Aleve made where it like shocks your muscles.
Oh, really?
Like you attach it to your
Ooh,
back.
I need some of that.
Yeah, it's dope. It's super dope.
Those back spasms are no joke. They can take you out for a hot minute.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you feel, especially if they're working out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, no.
Exactly. So they take her to this hospital covered in mud. She's screaming in agony. They basically have to convince her that they need to give her a combination of morphine and codeine. And it turns out
it makes her funny.
She makes her very funny. The whole thing about Burke and Burp for some reason really got to me.
I don't know. He seems like he's like somebody broke his heart. Or...
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So it turns out Hannah has a sprained wrist and 2 sprained fingers. So.
You know how many football players just play with that?
Right, that's right.
It's
exactly.
like, all right, let me go back in the field.
How many athletes like get dislocated shoulders and just
then pop it back in? Yeah.
Oh boy. But no, let's talk about Burke. Let's talk about Burke's relationship with Hannah specifically, because it seemed like last week, after last week's final challenge,
right.
they were really starting to bond, and they really seemed like they had a solid friendship going.
Right.
And then this week, Burke is cold as hell.
I think he's frustrated. Like, I think he is in a crossroads of, thinking, like, obviously he's a competitor. Mm-hmm. So I think he's in a crossroads of, like, emotion and competition.
Sure.
Like, he really wants to win, but he didn't pick his team to win. Like, he picked his team based off emotion, like how he feels like he can help them.
Right.
So I think he's just kind of like, it's a tug of war within himself, because he's like, dang, I really want to win, but I don't know if this team is equipped to win, and I'm going to drag them on winning, but I can't drag them because they're not there yet.
Right.
So it's kind of one of these, things. And with Hannah, it's like the first episode, she jumped into a pond full of sharks.
Right.
Not sharks, gators.
Gators, yeah.
Like, she did that, but then she cries at the drop of, so it's just kind of like, I don't even know what's going on with her either.
Well, with that, so she's hurt, and Burke goes up to Grady, because it's Grady's choice to send the 3 people into tonight's elimination challenge,
right.
Which, by the way, will be a double elimination, mm-hmm. 2 people going home. So he goes up to Grady, and he basically specifically requests that he put Hannah in the challenge so that she'll go home.
Which is, I don't know.
I mean, I get it from a strategic standpoint,
right.
but from another standpoint, it kind of seems like you're putting like Old Yeller behind the barn.
Right,
like,
but this is like the wrong
stuff.
person to ask, because this is a guy who pretty much stacked his team, and he's not admitting to stacking his team, right? So there's that one thing. So you're gonna ask the guy who stacked his team to win to essentially help you out,
right?
Like
right,
that.
Right.
That's if anything,
be solid.
Right? If anything, you shouldn't have said anything, because he might have ended up picking Hannah. But now that you said to pick Hannah, he's like, oh, okay.
Right,
now
man.
you want to throw out Old Yeller? Nah, Old Yeller has a couple more weeks.
And Burke takes that shit personally.
Right.
Because Grady decides to send Will instead of Hannah. And Burke, it legitimately seems like helping people becomes secondary to like being out to beat Grady at this point. He literally says, oh, hopefully I can still help them. But he's out for blood now.
Oh, yeah. But,
like, that's become secondary to going after Grady.
But with who, though? Who's on his...
On Burke's team?
Yeah.
We got Hannah, Chris, Will, and Melanie.
So now we have Melanie, Hannah, and Chris.
Right.
Okay. I don't know about that one.
Right. You never know. I don't know. I mean, looking at the field right now, we've got all of our contestants written on a whiteboard in the studio. That's why we're like looking aimlessly off camera.
I mean,
it's hard.
The green team just They look unbeatable.
They're stacked as hell.
Yeah, like so. Reds,
even Gigi. I mean, Gigi's been stepping up too.
Gigi, yeah, but she's like. Gigi's one of those places where she's a really great. You thought that she was gonna be one of those prissy chicks, but turns out she's like the gangster.
She's
chicks,
getting it done, yeah. Right?
But she's amongst like giants,
actual legitimate athletes,
right? So
literally the son of George Floyd.
Yeah, literally. So I mean, no matter what she does, they can drag her along.
Right.
It just helps that she's not like a pansy.
Right.
But my girl Chloe, she got Janessa and Allison left. Like
that's it. Yeah. Man.
I don't know. Next week's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough.
I am jealous though, Chloe. Like, I mean, I would have worked out with John Cena at least once, at least. But you
gotta think that would just be so discouraging. Like you're doing your max, and he's just repping it to warm up.
I think I might be one of those like I'll do a little workout, but it's like, hey John, like you look like it's hot in here. Why don't you? Take your shirt out?
It's fine.
It's fine. We're all family here. we all good.
Now I love when Grady's talking about the dream that Carla had about him, because we've talked about that interaction between Grady and Carla before.
Carla. I don't know what to. I kudos to her, because I definitely thought she wasn't gonna.
Well, the arc that we were seeing of her definitely was obviously leading us to believe that she would be going home today. Right. Between focusing so much on how she looks and Ricky not being able to get through to her, and then all of her flirtations with Grady.
It just seems like she's a fighter when she needs to be.
Right. And really, I mean, if that's the case, then that's all you need.
To a certain extent, but I wonder how she interacts with others. Because if Ricky is there to help, and I believe that Ricky's a personal trainer or something like that, if Ricky's there to help and she shushes Ricky,
straight up gave her the shush,
right?
Finger to the lips.
Yeah, like in competition she shushes her,
like,
which is fine, because everybody kind of knows. It seems like Carla's been in some type of situation, either that she's done yoga, because she was kind of busting like that whole.
That's what it seemed like. The poses that she was hitting.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
Some meditation poses,
right.
composure and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like, I'm eager to see what Carla's deal is, like what she has to work on, because it seems like everybody in the show has to work on something.
Right. Exactly.
And I don't know, like if it's Carla, because at the end of the day, people who are late, they might be late all the time, but they might be great in something else. Like, we're not perfect in everything. So sometimes you have to just take that L in certain things, like realize what that weakness is and maybe like try to work on it. But, if it's not causing any type of strife in your life, then at least acknowledge it. But like, yeah, I know I'm late all the time, but I mean, I'm working, my kids are taken care of. Like, all these other things are well, like you can't fault it. So
right.
I don't know what her deal is.
It's interesting.
Other than pissing Ricky off.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure. I love the pep talks that we see also before the challenges. Like Burke and Chris's interaction specifically.
Oh my gosh.
Made me laugh really hard.
I mean,
Chris, I gotta say, Chris is like one of my absolute favorites on the show.
He's just so quiet though.
I don't know if he's quiet. I wouldn't say he's quiet.
I don't know. We'll see. we'll see about that.
But I love Burke getting on him for being so goddamn positive all the time.
I honestly want to know what Bart, like, if we could, how you kind of see like those movies where you see somebody's life and you're like, you see them at 6 and then you see like the breakup and you
can kind of pinpoint, like,
you could kind of pinpoint like, oh, that's where, like, I want to see why he is the way he is.
Who hurt you, Burke?
It could be who hurt him, or like everybody has situations that make them who they are.
Sure.
So I kind of like, was he in the field and he saw like a lot of people pass away and he no longer tries to attach himself to people, or was it a girl? It was one of those like a jarhead moments where she's home and he's there and she sends him a video of her with somebody else. Like,
Man, I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh, that was epic.
That's rough.
Yeah, that was epic.
But we say that, but I feel like we actually got a lot of his sense of humor in this episode also.
Oh my gosh, like. Guys, I don't know if you can confirm or deny, because you are in the wrestling game, but it feels like out of all the athletes, wrestlers tend to have way more ball jokes than anybody else. Like, trust me, guys to me are very like I have a lot of guy friends. But it just seems like, as far as the crassness, wrestlers and balls.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
It's a very, like, John Cena, I didn't get a lot of his humor the first season, but this season he has been referencing balls.
We're seeing a lot of it.
Day.
We're seeing a lot of it.
Yeah, so I don't know what is it with wrestlers and balls.
Well,
but...
speaking of balls, perfect segue. We got to get into this elimination challenge. So Grady ends up choosing Carla, Sherman, and Will to go into this double elimination challenge, wherein the competitors will have to hold a ball on one hand and stand, and we'll get to this. They have to stand on a block of wood while holding this ball in their hand.
Oh my gosh.
And if they let the ball go, it hits the bell, and then they have to go home. Now, something that I didn't notice until the second time around is that the block of wood that they were standing on, the surface that they were standing on wasn't completely
rounded,
flat.
yeah.
It kind of almost came to a point.
Right.
Which I think is what really did the people in that ended
After
up
3
going
hours.
home. Because, yeah, after a while, you start shifting your weight to either your heel or the ball of your foot.
Right.
And if there's nothing there, that throws your equilibrium off.
Right.
It throws you off balance. And so it's a little thing like that can make all the difference.
I don't know. I know when I lift up weights and I try to do like holds, like I'm good for 30 seconds,
Right.
maybe a minute
Well,
if you challenge me.
Anyone that's done like wall sits or something
Yeah.
like that static.
Maybe 2 minutes.
Right.
3 hours.
Oh.
I don't know.
Just holding just holding that arm out. And it was only 20 minutes in where they weren't allowed to switch arms anymore.
Was it 20 minutes?
It was only 20 minutes in that John Cena was like, okay, you can't switch arms. The arm that you have right now, that's going to be your arm until someone goes home.
I don't know. It's kind of interesting too because Jill last week did mention last week's challenge. They broke it up because they didn't expect them to hold it for that long, so they stopped and then almost reset and then put it together.
Okay.
So it would be interesting. I would love to find out if that was the case for this challenge.
Right.
If it was okay, like into 20 minutes, and then
such a long time.
now they're an hour and a half in, and now it's like dangerous, like you might lose an arm or something.
Right.
Like let's reset.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, you got to think of stuff like circulation and things like that.
Yeah, Carla was literally just like, oh, okay, like she could go again.
Right.
Like I'm definitely I respect her gangster.
Absolutely.
That was crazy. Like it seemed like you take some type of yoga class.
Right.
Respect that.
Right. And like I was saying before, it's interesting seeing the different approaches. Also, Bert, he's sitting there, he's talking to Will. They're talking about anything, just thinking about anything but what's happening. Whereas Ricky tries to say one thing and just straight up gets shushed. Like, damn. I would have been pissed.
I think Ricky wanted her to go home.
Oh.
After that, she's like,
all right, you can go.
Yeah, I'm done with you.
I was surprised. I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised that when they were so excited and so kind of like friendly with each other afterwards. Because that whole time I would have just been waiting, like, we're going to have some words.
Or, I mean, the fact that she was able to do that for 3 hours, she showed that she has grit.
Right.
It just only comes out when she wants it to come out, not when you want it to come out, which is,
That's fair. Yeah.
It's fair as an adult. Like we're not playing sports here.
No, yeah,
She's
exactly.
not on a team. She didn't volunteer for she volunteered for the show, but it's not. I think if you put her in last year's challenge, then that definitely would have been an issue.
Sure.
But this year she's
and if that's what it takes to get her in that zone, like not even saying a word.
right.
And then as we saw all the mosquitoes and the gnats coming into play,
gosh.
that would have been it. That would have been a wrap.
Oh, I'm telling you, my arms would have been shaking in about a minute.
Right.
And then, you go through all those things. And I might have kind of hit that Zen yoga thing. But
At a certain point,
yeah. But the mosquitoes, though.
Ooh. That's rough. That's rough.
That's why I haven't those Amazing Races and those type shows. I can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would have punked out in less than a day.
Well, it's that one of my other shows that I'm hosting right now is American Ninja Warrior, and so many of those obstacles rely on grip strength and hand strength and stuff like that, and I can't even imagine.
Yeah, just think of the little things that you do, like carrying the groceries.
Right.
you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this in one shot, and then midway through, you're like,
You'll pick up like 12 bags just to make it one trip.
Yeah, midway through, you're second guessing yourself and need to put it down. This trip now is taking, instead of 2 minutes, is now taking 10.
Right,
like,
right.
Now somebody's telling you, no, you need to carry all 12 of those groceries, not only for that one sitting, but around the track for an hour.
Right.
Like that. I don't know. I kind of want to, like, you know, I hope the show kind of does a good combination of this year or last year and this year, because I really want to do, like, some type of show, because, you know, I want to see, you know, where I'm at. But
Sure.
I don't know. I might be that first one. Like, you don't even know my name. It's like,
Who's that?
who's that? That black chick? Who? She's gone. we didn't even get to know who.
Pink hair?
Yeah, we thought she was there. We're not really sure.
guess.
Yeah, whatever. So we'll see.
So eventually we see Will, and like just from that first moment of him kind of fumbling with his fingers, like, oh, it's done. That's a wrap. There's no saving. There's
Well,
no
I
coming back
thought
from that.
Sherman was gonna get. He was gonna do it because he kind of did this kind of shoulder.
Yeah.
Like rest one hand on the shoulder
yeah,
type
because
thing.
Sherman was doing it where one hand was
Yeah.
behind his back. Will was doing it kind of underneath the arm. But at a certain point, it looked like Sherman kind of got in this zone,
Right.
where you weren't sure if that was going to help him or hurt him.
Right.
That was where I was coming from. Is like he zoned out so much that it looked like he might have just fallen over.
Yeah, but on that note, by putting your hand over there, like adding an additional hand, now you're working both arms.
Right.
So I don't know. Again, I mean, I just do planks for a minute.
Right,
Like I can't even speak
exactly.
on 3 hours.
So eventually, Will he fumbles around with the ball, drops it, hits the bell. Will has to go home. I was surprised.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I expected Carla to go home, but as they were playing it out, it seemed like they're setting up for Carla to win. Not to say they kind of set it up in a certain way, but
Sure.
how everything was playing out, the camera angles, it's like, oh yeah, Carla's gonna get it.
Right.
Which is unfortunate. I kind of almost wish that they would have gave Sherman a little bit more time, because I'd love to hear more of his story.
I was really surprised. I thought from that first episode we were going to see a much longer arc with him throughout the season.
But again, we saw like Richard making jokes, eating fried chicken, and like being dragged through the mud. So I'm sure, hopefully we see more of him too.
Right. Hopefully,
But
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like there are so many characters and personalities that we really didn't get to know a lot of the characters. And now I'm like comparing both seasons. I feel like we got to know more last season, but I'm not entirely sure either.
Right.
But John had actually, you know what we did? Because John had, as each person last year was going into the elimination, John had a little mini talk with every one of those people.
Right.
And we kind of got it this season, but it's not the same.
And I think we'll get a lot more of that coming in. You know, we saw a little bit of the tease of next week's episode.
Yeah.
We're going to see a little bit more of that dynamic between Herman and Melanie.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see.
We'll see. I want to see Nicole do these challenges.
See who's
Nicole.
that? Nicole.
John Cena's
Oh,
fiance.
Nikki Bella. Yes, of
I want
course.
to see her do this challenges.
Right.
In her, I think there was a season in. This is totally off topic, but if you follow John Cena, I feel like you watch Toda Bellas.
Sure.
But when she was going to see Bree's house in like Seattle or something like that, and it was like outdoorsy, and she wore high-heeled Timberland boots.
Damn.
I mean, just kind of feel like that'd be interesting.
Sure. I could see that.
Stirring it out there.
I could see that for sure. I was going over my notes like, Nicole.
Who's Nicole? I told
got you.
I was not gonna be any help today.
I got you.
Just wasn't not.
got
You know, the rock is hot.
Sometimes it has to be said. I guess.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
There we go.
Lemon's like, what is
Exactly.
yeah.
So Will goes home. Sherman goes home. Carla looked like she wasn't even struggling by the time that happened.
I don't know. Yeah, big up to Carla.
Yeah, right.
Hey.
So it'll be interesting because when Grady was talking to the rest of the people about his choice, he said that Carla thinks that she's safe,
Right.
Because they've been having these flirtations, and he's sent her in anyway.
Yeah, but does Grady really like her, or is he just playing her?
That's what it seems like. That's more what it seems like.
Because it seems like Grady is like, you know, he's a good-looking dude.
Sure.
So, you know, he's probably, and I don't know if he's from LA or not, but
I don't know.
You know, wherever, if he's not from LA, I'm sure he's if he's in LA, he would still get some, but if he's not from LA, if he's another state, he's probably
sure
collecting those like beer cans. So,
but yeah, it does seem like he's playing that like he knows she's interested.
Right.
He knows she's having dreams about him, and so he's
which
just
is kind of weird. Why would you say that? Like, why don't you say that like coming towards the end?
Oh, like near the end of the.
But then you don't even know if they're gonna last.
Right.
So I see what Carla's doing.
Yeah, you got now.
Carla's, yeah,
she's
kind of.
the pot.
Yeah, she's kind of dropping hints just in case, so that when the show ends, because there's another show I watched that was like that. Dang it, it was Sylvester Stallone's like workout show.
Oh man,
you know what I'm talking about? It
the
came
boxing
out,
one?
No, he had another workout show that came out maybe a couple months ago.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, this professional volleyball player was one of the coaches. It was like a crazy thing, but one of the girls, she kind of put in her bid, and now she's still. Well, I don't know if they're still dating, but the after show, she was dating one of the kind of cadres.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes you feel like nuts.
Sometimes
you
feel
don't.
like that. Exactly.
You have it.
Exactly. So that's our episode. We'll be talking more. We'll be talking next episode. Very, very love centric. Interesting.
Work these people out. Like, I want to see some sweat. I want to see some people throwing up. I want to see some people passing out. Like,
nearly enough grit.
No, I mean, I'm seeing the mental grit. Like, I mean, kudos. Like, tell me, I'm a punk. I don't know if I've been to 3 hours, but like, come on, like,
right.
Put Richard on a treadmill or something. Like, I want to see people working out.
Sure.
Just. Or at least do a montage of John Cena in the morning, like
at least, yeah.
At least in the tap out equipment, like sweat, brow, you know, a little side pose, like the girl, like how The Rock does on his Instagram page, you know, just at least,
you know,
just a little something.
Oh well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's a minimal squad, but it's a squad nonetheless. We got a lot in there.
Why do you say minimal?
Minimal, just numbers wise.
Sometimes two is all you need.
That's, you know what? It's from the top of the show, just the two of us. That's all we need. That's all we need. We got Ty, we got TK.
It's like I don't want to work with her ever again.
That's it. No, this is the new squad.
Boom, you're out, Len.
Next week we'll be right back here, same bad time, same bad channel, talking season 2, episode 5. Take us out, Will. TK, where can they find you?
Ooh, I like that. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. Again, if you didn't get at the top of the show, I do have a birthday season charity going on. If you follow me on Instagram at TK Trinidad on everything, I'm going to be raising funds for the Boys and Girls Club of America and Canada. And I have a hashtag workout with The Rock because that is my birthday wish. So if y'all know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, just make it happen. Maybe John Cena.
There you go. Get it trending, y'all.
Just saying.
Hashtag it up.
Hashtag it up.
Guys, you can find me on all forms of social media at TimeOutThesePMA. You can find me on the Lucha Underground After Show in just 1 hour. We're talking all sorts of masked wrestling and
balls.
And balls, of course. Probably that's a good chance. Yeah. It's a good chance. Jimbo, are you still in the booth?
Yes.
I tried to give Mark a shout out last night and he bounced by the end of the show.
Damn.
So just making sure. Jimbo, where can they find you?
On Twitter at Jimbo the Puppy.
There, good, short and sweet. Guys, thank you so much. Remember, if you're on iTunes, leave us a comment, leave us a download, subscribe, review, rate, 5 stars if you're nasty. If you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. Talk to us about American Grit. Let us know if you think there should be more grit.
Yes.
Because it seems like it's unanimous. But until next week, peace.
Ciao.
Always tell the truth, say your prayers, hold doors, pull out chairs, easy on the swears. You live and prove that dreams come true. I love you and I'm here for you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.